Wrath of the Lich King Classic. Fuck yes.
Yep.
Good. This is the one I absolutely am going to do. And I know I kind of said that for TBC, but TBC just happened to be an incredibly busy time for me, IRL, and well, yeah, Wrath, I mean, that's kind of where I really came into my own for Warcraft, so I'm going to have to. But yeah, exciting. Right. So Wrath of the Lich King interface files have been found in the latest The Burning Crusade Classic patch. So you can just see here, interface Wrath, bindings, glue buttons, and character create. So there you go. Those probably wouldn't be there if, Wrath of the Lich King wasn't happening.
Yeah, I mean, that's the fun thing where it's like everyone just knows, well, we know you're going to make a Wrath of the Lich King Classic, but now there's it's codified. There's a little bit of, they're actually working ahead of TBC. So once TBC is wrapped up, I suspect we'll see an announcement fairly quick. Honestly, I would expect us to see a 10.0 Wrath, 1-2 punch. I'm not sure if it's the same time, but I imagine very, very close together because they really, obviously Blizzard need big wins. And I think going, here's 10.0, it's really cool. Here's the final patch of TBC. Here's Wrath. And that all being in, in the consciousness, I think would work.
If I was to bet, I would say that they don't have a major Warcraft product to release Q4.
Yeah.
Or Q3, so I think...
except for mobile, but yeah.
Oh, shit! Okay, right. In that case, I think one quarter will probably get mobile. Another quarter will get Wrath. Quarter after that, I think that's when we're going to get the new expansion. So I would almost say, maybe it could be Q3 is Wrath Classic. Actually, wait, I need to think about what the Burning Crusade Classic times are.
Yeah, because they had BT a while ago there just.
Yeah, when... Sunwell could be like August, right? I suppose that's the thing.
Maybe before that, I don't know.
Yeah. Because doing Wrath so soon after Sunwell would be, could be a bit iffy for the TBC people. But I think you can see the idea. I mean, maybe if they were to do a Q3 mobile game, Q4 Wrath Classic, and then, the start of 2023 is whenever we get a big new modern thing.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Yeah, I think in terms of the announcements, I imagine they will just pepper us with these really, really hard. So I'm assuming we'll know everything we need to know. Well, let's think. In terms of what things are happening, we're at week 2 of the patch. Time really disappears. We're at week 2 of the patch. We're looking at week 5 or 6 before campaign's finished. I imagine whatever we see at the raid cinematic will be all we need to see for an expansion announcement. I can't imagine they'll wait for 9.2.5 to happen and then say expansion.
Yeah.
I imagine they'll try to get that out a little bit quicker, which means, I'm not thinking of any other games patch content cadence in any capacity here, but I imagine we'll get a wave of announcements in April. I can almost certainly say that. I can't. I'm literally just speculating. But I just, when you feel something, you're like, yeah, that's gonna be it.
Yeah, someone's saying there, Sunwell could be June. In which case, late Q3 or just anytime Q4 for Classic could make sense. I'd be very down for this actually, because if I think about me in Wrath, I was originally Warrior and then I went Hunter. I think it was that. That's where my Hunter main had originated from. But anyway. I'd done the tiniest bit of dabbling in Nax. I'd done, Sarth, Nixia, obviously, your man in VOA. But for me, it was I was Warrior because I was tanking dungeons and learning how to tank for the first time, and that was a spooky experience. Then I remember swapping Hunter, but by the time I swapped Hunter, it's when it was Trial of the Crusader time, and... I didn't do Grand Crusader or anything like that, but it was just, doing Trial of the Crusader, properly gearing a character up, watching those Kriparian videos. The other ones, Tribunal X, Hunter, Warcraft Hunters Union. Think about all of the places I used to frequent. But I actually missed out on Ulduar. And the thing is, so many players missed out on Ulduar. Yeah. Because it was a really short tier.
It was a fantastic one as well.
I think it was only 5 months. Was it 6?
I couldn't tell you.
I remembered TB mentioning what the hell, this is really short, because they put Trial of the Crusader in pretty soon after, which a lot of people thought was a bit wild because Ulduar is one of the greatest raids. So I think in the same way that you missed out on Throne of the Thunder King, I missed out on Ulduar. Now, I did get, I got the next 2 raids, like ICC and all of that. But yeah, I'd love to get back in. Yeah. And even, Winter Grasp. And that's the thing that maybe could be a bit rough with this, because I feel like these days, and especially this is informed by how some of the Burning Crusade Classicas went, like the faction imbalances and stuff, they all just seem to get more extreme these days.
Yeah.
I wonder what that's going to mean for Winter Grasp. Because remember the buff the enemy team would get that would just make them so strong. Obviously, numbers, you just win.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing.
So I wonder how they're going to do that.
I think if they were to delay Wrath Classic at all, that's why I think they would, because, obviously every expansion comes with some bullshit at the start, but I feel like if they just went, here's Wrath Classic, DKs are as busted as they were.
Oh boy.
Please have fun. You would just have everyone be playing DK, and, Winter Grasp basically wouldn't exist for whatever, because people metagame their server selection now. People didn't used to do that quite as heavily. It was, where are my friends playing? And that was it. But now it's where your friends playing. Your friends are likely talking to each other to figure out where to go, because, where content creators are, where streamers are, or where's the PvE server for Horde. That's the kind of stuff you run into. So that imbalance, I feel like they're definitely going to try to or solve it, at least try, based on all the changes they're making pretty rapidly, it seems, to both Season of Mastery and TBC Classic. I feel like there's definitely the institutional will to go, no, we will smooth over the problems, and that'll just take time to actually consider, especially if it is a relatively small team working on that. Wrath is an entirely different beast to approach than TBC. It's the same philosophy of changes, but the actual physical changes would just take a bunch of time. But, I mean, I think either way, I'm happy just to try to get some John Madden Feral in there. I played Boomkin and Resto, and I'm like, man, I feel like I definitely missed something by not being Feral, even though I don't even know if it was good.
Hunter with a mana bar.
Yeah.
I want to know what because I obviously played in ICC, but it's been so long I can barely remember what it felt like. Just having to go between turning on aspect of the Viper to get your mana back and all that crazy shit.
Fantastic.
So yeah, look, I'm in. Certainly they would earn my subscription with a Wrath Classic, and I have a feeling that I think you could say that Wrath Classic will appeal more to the modern crowd than Classic or TBC Classic.
Yeah,
Perhaps,
I think that's
could be a better substitute.
That's the one thing that I think. I think there's a lot of appetite for TBC. I think, or a lot of imagined appetite for TBC, because obviously it's when World of Warcraft found a lot more of its footing in terms of like its content. And there's so much content in the actual base release, but it also, I think, a lot of some of this is my perspective, so it's definitely going to be tinted, but I started playing World of Warcraft and I can never remember if it was at the very end of vanilla or at the start of TBC, but it was somewhere in around there. But I didn't get to experience TBC for months and months and months.
Yeah.
So I was, most of my World of Warcraft experience is the first 2 expansions blended together. But the first time I actually felt like, oh, there's a actual expansion that mattered was Wrath. Yeah, and obviously same. Wrath, the end of Wrath going into Kata was when it hit that 11, 12 million sub count. That was like that mythical, oh my, holy shit. Hard 12 million people playing this game at the same time. That's insane. And that was in Wrath getting excited for Kata. So if you're trying to look for biggest numbers, Wrath is the winner for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, how many guilds had the exact same thing that my guild had, where ICC 10 is accessible, it's super fun, then Cataclysm happens. Suddenly everything is harder and more complex and just tuned to be harder. And I think between that in Kata and through to loads of MoP, and I think actually even moving on a wee bit, the game just suffers from not having an accessible endgame.
Yep, for sure.
It's a whole interesting topic. So there you go.
That's for sure.
Wrath Classic. It's coming.
Yep.